meeting, and we will do so with a roll call, please.
Commissioner Patton.
Here.
Commissioner Barwick is absent this evening. Commissioner Webb.
Here.
Commissioner Stecklin.
Present.
Mayor Absher.
Here. Would you all join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, moving on to item 3 on the agenda is for public comments and our audience to visitors. This is the opportunity for anyone in the audience to address the council. This is subject to 2 ordinances, 3128, which was amended by 3134. Both of those ordinances are on the counter up here by that flower arrangement. So would anybody like to address the council this evening?
Donnie's behind the column.
What? Oh, man, you popped right out of there. All right, now, we know the drill, right?
Okay.
Tell me when you're ready.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Go ahead and just start in.
I'll tell you when you're at 4 minutes.
Okay. All right, I've got a few things to say tonight. You know, I always mention good book words, and so sometimes people make different comments like they're tired. You can't get tired of the good book, or it's over for you. So long if you get rid of the, if you get tired of hearing the good book. It's just very important. Okay, so I wanted to start out with these things. Just my initial thought was that truth, exposure to the truth enables us to reach right conclusions. So when you're exposed to the truth, it helps you to make a right conclusion. And I put down here, telling the truth helps the territory, because when the truth is told, you can navigate life in a beneficial way. Okay, my scripture verse today I'm going to start out with is Proverbs 11:31. It says, "An unequal balance is an abomination to the Lord." And so, is that right? So unequal balance is an abomination to the Lord. So an abomination means just something that the Lord hates. And so unequal balance, and we always have to, it's just human nature. Our tendency is to go one extreme to the other. And so, but a balance is what an unequal balance, when you do that, the Lord hates that. And so, like I was thinking about, you can make progress in a city, progress in the economy of a city, progress in, the development of a city, but you still have to focus and be concerned about people that are hurting in that city. And so that is a something that you have to be concerned about to maintain a proper balance of things, not just what you want, not just, your progress and prosperity, but people that are hurting as well. There's people, if you drive around these streets in Marion, and Marion's a pretty good town as far as others can, but there's people walking down the street, they're hurting. They don't have enough to eat, they don't have no place to stay, they're involved in things that are just destroying their lives. Okay. All right. So now I guess I'll get to some of these other issues. And I've got here, I always get focused in on police things. And so my comment here is people and police, people, the public, and the police, they need grace to get along with each other. And so people need to realize that the police are there to protect them, but the police need to know that they're there to serve the people. And so that needs to be gauged properly, so they need a grace to relate properly with one another. The police have been given a lot of authority because you can't be, somebody trying to help you, you got to protect them too, but they've been given so much authority, when that gets out of bounds, it can really cause damage to people's lives. They can very much disrupt people's lives. That's why there's got to be a strong leadership regarding the police, because they've been given so much authority, which they need, and people need to realize they're there to protect them, but the police themselves need to realize that they're there to serve the people. So there's a balance to this, and that's why that scripture verse, an unequal balance is an abomination to the Lord. And so that can get out of balance human nature, we all get out of balance very easily. Okay. Okay, and now this is going to be a little harsh word for the police, but not just the police, but people in general. No apologies are made when things are done wrong. No accountability or apologies are made. And I put down here, they deny and ignore any apologies that need to be made. And I put down here because sometimes, and it's not just the police, it's in most every organization, most people, they're too busy patting their own back to admit that they've done wrong. That's just life. You have to, when you do wrong, everybody does wrong, you have to admit that. But if you're too busy patting yourself on the back, you don't do it. And that's a problem with me, with you, everyone. Okay. So I've only got to, now I'm going to get these good words in because I've been planning on getting these good words in about people several times and haven't been able to do it. So I've got a good word for this, for a policeman, Mike Baxter. I have found him to be the best man in the department. He's got a valuable character I put down here. It's because he has a concern for how he affects other people by what he does. Mike Baxter. I've been planning to give him a good word for 3 months. And so I had to press in to do that, and I just have a little bit of time here. But I've got here, he's retiring, but he's a person to be utilized to be an example to young policemen. A mentor, you know, they use that word mentor. Okay. He should be rewarded too. He's just retired. He should be, he's just a real good guy. Okay. Okay, now I need 20 seconds. Okay. And so I was just going to, I need 20 seconds. Okay. And so I had this one, I tried to finish up with scripture too. It says, in last week I mentioned about that correction, in order to survive in life, you must be corrected. I must be, everyone must, it's just life. And so the scripture verse here is Proverbs 6:23. For the commandment is a lamp, and the law is light. Or you could just say the good book is a lamp and a light for you to navigate life. And then, and the reproofs of instruction or correction are the way of life. So correction and reproofs of instruction are the way of life. All right, you guys have a good night.
Thank you, Donnie.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, hearing or seeing none, we'll move on to our consent agenda, which tonight has 5 items and subcomponents, items A through E. Does anybody on the council wish any item A through E or a subcomponent to be removed from consent and voted upon separately? Glasses are fogging. Anybody from the audience want any of these items voted upon separately removed from our consent agenda? Okay, if there's no objections, I would entertain a motion to pass the consent agenda as presented.
I'll make a motion to pass the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Okay, any questions or discussion on any of these items, A through E, or a subcomponent? Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioner Patton?
Yay.
Commissioner Webb?
Yay.
Commissioner Steckland?
Yay.
Mayor Absher?
Yay. Item 5 is under Police Department. I asked the chief to come up. Commissioner Barwick is upset that he couldn't be here tonight, but he had other obligation. So we'll leave it to you, Chief.
Thank you, sir. We recently had an officer resign, left Marion PD and went elsewhere. So we had an opening, and we were able to fill it with a young man that not only myself but our department has been interested in for a while, so the chips have kind of fallen into place. So I am requesting that at the suggestion of the Merit Board, Commissioner Barwick and myself, that the Marion Police Department be allowed to hire Alex Jimenez as a full-time police officer, coming in as probationary 2, and his start date will be Tuesday, October 26th.
Doug, would you mind to read the motion in John's absence?
I would recommend let me start over. I would vote to make the recommendation to approve Alec Jimenez to the position of patrol officer per collective bargaining agreement to fill the vacancy created by the resignation of Chase Redenauer.
I'll second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioner Patton?
Yay.
Commissioner Webb?
Yay.
Commissioner Steckland?
Yay.
Mayor Absher?
Yay. Want to introduce him?
Yes, Alec, please come up. Everyone, this is Alec Jimenez. He is currently a Pulaski County deputy, and he is also a part-time Marion School Security Officer. So I hate to lose him, even though I'm not going to be losing him. So stand there and look pretty. Okay.
Alec, would you like to say anything?
Yes, you do.
Okay. All right.
Your whole family's here. You got to say something.
First off, just want to say thank you. I'm excited to get back up here and work for this community in my hometown, and excited to get to work. So,
Okay, so October 26th, that's the magic date?
yes, sir.
Okay. We'll swear him in at a later date.
Yes.
Okay, I know you guys, your family are here, and somebody said to me you're here for his swearing in. We don't actually do that the night that we hire. So we'll have to do that at a later date. We'll try to let you know. Yeah, I know. That's why I'm saying it.
Come back and see
You'll
us.
come back now that you know how to get here? Okay. Alex, we're glad to have you, and if you want to come shake the commissioner's hands, that'd be appreciated.
I also want to say to you, Mayor, that in line with what you had talked about earlier this year, is Alex is homegrown. He's born and raised in Marion, went to Marion High Schools, and has been a city employee here. So it's really good to see this come full circle. Very happy for you.
Glad to have you.
Thank you.
Now, I have a feeling that the majority of our attendees tonight were here for that particular event. So I'm going to give you guys the opportunity to leave if you like. So you're more than welcome to stay, but we
You
will.
will miss all this important stuff.
Welcome.
See you guys.
Wow.
Bye.
Support group.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll move on to item number 6 and A and B. Brent, do you want to talk about these projects, or John, do you want to talk about them?
He's going to talk about
Yeah,
it.
it's okay.
Okay.
These are projects we've been working on for some time. I mentioned the first one here for the 12-inch water treatment plant yard piping. That's what's going to follow after we demo the building. That's the work we're going to do with the main lines leaving the plant. We took bids on that project. We had 2 bidders, very close bids. Kent Jones bid was $110,131, and Scuda Construction bid $110,720. So they were very close. Kent was the low bidder, and that's what we're going to recommend approving tonight, is the bid from Kent Jones for that project.
So I'd like to make a recommendation to approve the award of the bid to J.M. Jones Incorporated for the 12-inch WTP yard piping project.
Second.
Okay, any questions on?
Should we clarify that amount?
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Or $110,131.
Yep.
Sorry. Thank you.
It's all right.
Man, those bids were
It's amazing.
crazy close, weren't they?
Look, they
Yeah,
follow
that
each other.
is really amazing.
I've never really seen that.
Yeah, it's not a very big job. I mean, it's fairly compact in there. One of the items, the meters were very similar, so the rest of the work was very close too, so.
Scooter needs to find out where Jones is buying their connects at.
I guess so, yeah. I
Once he
mean,
sees that, oh, he won't see this, but
yeah, he'll see this.
oh well.
Yeah,
We
they
haven't
send this
yet.
out
He's gonna be-
to
he's
me,
gonna be
and then
bidding his-
anybody that bid,
his
will
connects.
get this tabulation so they can see what was what.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. Any other questions or comments on that one? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Patton,
Yes.
Commissioner Webb,
Yay.
Commissioner Steckland,
Yay.
Mayor Absher.
Yay. Item 6B.
Yeah, the next project is much smaller. It is in connection with a business that is going out on Meadowland Parkway, the corner of Pentecost and Meadowland. Stacked Enterprise, I guess, or stacked, I guess, they're building supplements out there. But we had to run a sewer extension over to that property, and this is what this second discussions about. We actually had 4 bidders on this job. Wiggs Excavating was $26,940. Scuda Construction on this one was $24,000. J.M. Jones bid $19,470, and Scott SQ Construction was the low bidder at $16,360. We were glad to see that number because that's really more what we thought that was going to be. So we need to approve awarding that contract to Scott SQ Construction.
So I'd make a motion to approve the award, the bid to Scott SQ Construction, the amount of $16,360 for the sewer extension for stack supplements.
I'll second.
Just wanted to make a note, we are paying our portion of this with TIF funds, and the property owner has participated in
Yeah.
this cost.
He did participate. He's already paid his part of it.
Right,
And then we
so,
were just basically facilitating the bidding and taking care of the rest of it. So,
Right.
so we can get going.
okay, any questions on that? Bid spread on that one was a lot different.
Yeah, it was. Well, that's, you know.
Crazy too.
Yeah,
That's just-
like I said, he started reading those in the order I did too, and I was thinking it was going to be more around the number that we got. So I was glad to see Scott came
Yeah,
in
me
on that
too.
one and got that job. He'll do a good job.
Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioner Patton,
Yay.
Commissioner Webb,
Yay.
Commissioner Steckland,
Yay.
Mayor Absher.
Yay. Item 7A, Jim?
Yes, we opened bids on a new X-Mark mower, which is a budgeted item, and we have 2 bids, one from Little Tractor located here in Marion, and the other H&R Agri-Power from Benton, Illinois. They both bid $13,039. It's kind of a state bid, so I think kind of assumed they would come in equal on that. So the only difference would be the incentives that they offer back. A Little Tractor is offering $480 total incentives back, and Agri-Power is offering $450. So again, close, so only $30 difference. So, but anyway, with that, I would recommend that we purchase the X-Mark mower from the Little Tractor Company for $13,039. In addition, with that, a $480 incentive.
Second.
Okay. I feel stupid asking the question, but I've not seen this before on these bids. Is it just as simple as it sounds? Is that anything they need to buy, extra blades, oil filters, whatever, they can use that credit for, or is it any more complicated than that? That's just it? Okay. Does the W0 on,
That's what I was going to
that's the only thing I was, you were going to ask the same thing?
Same question, yeah.
Does that indicate anything differently? I mean, make absolutely certain that these are identical. There's just a W0 or a W0 after the first model number on H&R's bid, LZX980EKC606, and then that's on Little Tractor, and then H&R has a W0 after. Do you have any idea?
I'm not aware what that would be for, but
Okay. That's the only,
All right then.
okay. Do we have a motion in a second?
Yes.
Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioner Patton,
Yay.
Commissioner Webb,
yay.
Commissioner Steckland,
Yay.
Mayor Absher.
Yay. Item 8A, I have a list of 3 houses on 2 parcels bordering Vicksburg and Hendrickson in your package, and that's my motion to approve the purchase of the 3 properties from JRJ Rentals.
Second that.
Okay, questions on this one?
In a percent complete on our overall idea of what we wanted to do out there, about where are we at on that? 60, 70?
In that area, I'd say more like 90. Just don't think there's that much really more that in that particular area that needs to be purchased. maybe more higher than that, honestly.
And the one PIN number, just to clarify, did include 2 houses on,
Yeah, that's indicative of this area. There's a house that's landlocked kind of back in there with no, I don't know if that one actually, you can get to the street, but it's on that parcel tucked back.
I think there's an
There may be an alley there.
access off of Hendrickson, is that right?
Yeah, it's right on Henderson, but the second house is set back to the back of the lot.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Patton,
Yay.
Commissioner Webb,
Yay.
Commissioner Steckland,
Yay.
Mayor Absher.
Yay, and item 8B is my motion to approve the purchase of 1246 Midway Court from McCreary Developments LLC, also in your packet, item 8B.
Second that.
Questions on this one? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Patton,
Yay.
Commissioner Webb,
Yay.
Commissioner Steckland,
Yay.
Mayor Absher.
Yay. Under item 9A, there'll be most of our discussion tonight. Just to preface it, I've asked Cody to be conversant with all of us and help us weigh the pros and cons, merits and demerits of this, but this is an opportunity to enact an ordinance that other municipalities are doing in Illinois relative to gaming. Talking about the slot machines, in essence. It's commonly called pull or push tax, literally meaning this or this, as the case may be. This is somewhat controversial because of the municipalities that have enacted it. They've been sued, and there's active cases in 2 cases that I know of, Oak Lawn and Waukegan. Cody can converse about those cases a little bit. Those cases are, one of them I think is set to be heard reasonably soon. There's also action in the state legislature by one of the houses, but not the other. And so it is a opportunity, just to be honest, to raise quite a bit of revenue. It is this is hard to conceptualize because we usually talk about percents of things. This is 1 cent per pull or push, if you think of it that way. Not 1%, 1 cent, meaning, well, I guess you can wager all kinds of different amounts up to $4 in those machines. It doesn't matter whether it's $4 or $2. It's 1 cent. So, but anyway, so that's what it is. Cody can go through. I had Wendy's on vacation this week. Wendy had called and crafted this ordinance, and this is a standard proposed ordinance by IML, but she talked to them about the ins and outs of the case. We just simply don't know where it ends up legislatively, and we don't know where it ends up in the courts. But we've got one thing's for sure: if it is legislatively approved, if you will, which it has not been at this point. The House passed it, right, Cody?
Correct.
Senate has not taken it up as of this point. If and when they do, this won't be possible for us to do. If they do,
More than likely.
More than likely.
Yeah.
So that's what it is, and I'll let Cody take it on from there.
So the concept, as the mayor said, is basically a 1 penny tax on each push of a video gaming machine, regardless of the wager. Like he said, up to $4 is the potential wager. Now, those can stack on top of each other. I honestly have never played them, so I'm not sure exactly how it works, but the biggest payout any one person or any one push could earn with those stacked payouts would be up to $10,000, and that was something that was changed effective 2019 when the House or the state legislature and the governor signed the most recent video gaming reform bill that also added the casinos around the state, including the one over at Walker's Bluff. So again, with this ordinance, it is being challenged. There has 6 communities that have passed the ordinance before you today already, none of which is enforcing them at this point because they're waiting to see what happens with the two court cases that are out there. Locally, Benton and DuQuoin have passed this ordinance. Decatur, Tinley Park, and then Waukegan and Oak Lawn are the other. It did pass in Murfreesboro, okay. Apparently Murfreesboro as well. So with that in mind, this would not be enforceable until we understand what the outcome of those court cases are. However, the idea is, regardless of what the legislature does, this would grandfather us in the ability to utilize this tax or to levy this tax. The tax, you'll read different arguments out there. It is on the bettor that is putting this, pushing the button. However, it is collectible by the gaming terminal operators. So these are the companies that operate the terminals. This isn't any of our establishments in town. They're not paying this tax. It is the bettor that's paying the tax, collected by the terminal operator, remitted to the city. A part of the challenge to the Oak Lawn and the Waukegan ordinances basically is arguing that the terminal operators don't have the ability to change that wager to $1 and a penny. So that changes the wager from $1 to 99 cents, basically, and they're taking that penny out of the terminal operators' 50% that they get after the state takes their 33% cut. So
Well, this is their argument, right? This is their argument.
This is their argument. Yeah, to clarify, that's their argument. So the way it works, the way the tax base works for these machines, 33% gets taken off the top of basically the net revenue of these machines. Of that 33%, the state takes that, they give the city 5%, that's our local share. Whatever's remaining of that, basically 67%, is split 50-50 between the establishment and the terminal operators. So that penny has to come from somewhere, but it's unclear at this point what the judge is going to do in either one of those cases. It's basically going to have to weigh in where that penny comes from.
And that's the crux of the argument, though, is
right.
The gaming folks essentially say they can't change the formula and that the legislation doesn't allow them to take out money from the bettor or themselves, for that matter. But the gaming law itself does not speak to the ability to does not say you cannot do this way. So.
And this is only eligible in home rule communities. A non-home rule community could not levy this push tax. And again, I guess it remains to be seen whether home rule communities can as well. But the thought is, if you want to enact this tax, the time is now, prior to the legislature ruling on it or passing any legislation on it, because again, we might fall under that grandfathered in scenario. There's a lot of questions out there. There's no guarantee that any action tonight, whether you pass it or don't pass it, leads to any collection of revenue in the future. But again, the concept is passing it would at least allow our foot to be in the door and have that opportunity, if it ever were to arise, that we would be able to do this.
Cody, if we do pass it, I mean, is it open us up to any liability? We don't have to hire outside counsel to defend ourselves?
No, and that's an important point to make. So my recommendation would be that we change Article 3. This ordinance would be in full force and effect as of November 1st of 2021. It reads October 25th in your copy of the ordinance. But just because it's effective that day, I would say that we don't enforce this until there's resolution in the court system. Because we're not enforcing it, it wouldn't open us up. None of these other communities outside of Waukegan and Oak Lawn have been sued because they're choosing not to enforce it. That said, anyone can file a lawsuit at any given time, but I don't anticipate the same group that is filed against Oak Lawn and Waukegan would do so. Because
I wouldn't think they'd have any damages if they haven't been.
If it's not being enforced, there's no
tax
real damages,
imposed.
and there's no real relief to seek in that situation. Beyond that, I talked to DuQuoin Mayor. Again, they're not enforcing it in DuQuoin. There's been no real pushback. Again, this is not on our establishment owners, so the onus is not on them to come up with this penny. The mayor did some rough calculations, and he anticipates that could lead to a potential revenue source of about $1.5 million for the city if it was actually allowed to, if we are ever allowed to collect that tax. That said, through 7 months, there's been $92 million put in machines in the city of Marion, Illinois. $92 million.
Let that sink in for a minute.
Since March.
Since that's February
February through
through August.
Yeah.
So the gaming machines did not come back online until January 16th.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I excluded from that report January, so I just started in February.
$92 million.
$92
Million.
million.
Now, if the average wager, one of the things that's key to try to calculate what the revenue is you have to know what the average amount that they're waging when they're betting when they push the button. No one wants to tell you that number. They've got to know that number. Most people that I've talked to seem to be assuming that that is around $1.
Yeah.
So the easy math is in 7 months that button's been pushed 92 million times. A huge part of it has been done at the truck stops. And Love's is not yet online with their gaming machine.
Yeah, that 92 million number does not include
So
one push
I
at
don't,
Love's.
the huge part of the revenue has been generating at the truck stops. When I reason that, I posit that to you as at least some level of, nobody likes taxing anything, or I don't like necessarily, and I don't particularly want our own people to have to pay something. And I guess that's some comfort that a lot of this money is coming from out of town. You can see that on this report that I gave you. Furthermore, one of the things I thought of is like, and I think most of you know, I know Tammy knows how I feel about this whole subject matter. I'd put the whole thing back in Pandora's box if I could. Because I know that these establishments rely upon this income at this point. City certainly benefits from it. The state, for dang sure, is benefit from it. They take the lion's share. So there is an argument that maybe put this a little bit more perspective. If you bet $1, you're going to get, on average, 92 cents of that back. That's how these, in overall terms, how the machines are programmed. That's based, if you look at the column here, amount 1, they wagered 92, they got $84 million back, so they lost the $7.6 million. So if there's an argument that this deters somebody somehow from pushing the button, then I vote for that too. Because it's a whole lot of money being pushed into them, and maybe that's not necessarily the purpose for it. That's the only negative to this that I could come up with, is that somehow that causes that revenue stream, somehow it's a deterrent. I would hope it's a deterrent in some regards. And if you think that we could easily have, I know we capped this, I'm not for expanding it, but I mean, I get calls, Tammy gets calls every day. You just cannot imagine the demand there is out there for this. I find it very difficult to believe that somebody that's going to put $1 in knowing they'll lose 92 cents, that 1 cent's going to make much of a difference in their calculus as to whether they do that or not. And if they just choose to put $5 in and lose $4 and whatever, 60 cents, or whatever, I don't know that penny's going to make that big a difference. It would, however, make a big difference with our revenue. And if we should pass this, I would say, and we won't know, we have some budgetary long-term things that need to be solved that, namely, and we don't need to necessarily get in this tonight, I'm just, as a precursor to this would have to be another ordinance and discussion that we would have. I would highly recommend that we set this money aside and use it for a very, very specific purpose. What I have in mind is setting it aside as a trust for retiree health insurance. We set that, right now we're paying out of the general fund, out of our premiums that we get billed, just out of the general fund, we pay all of our health insurance benefits out of that, and it's a big expense, but we pay our retirees out of that. That's the group that drives lots of our costs by the nature of that. They're older, they're retired. If we would set this money aside for several years, at some point it would build up enough that portion would be self-funded from that trust account, because then, just like a pension, you can earn market returns on that money you're setting aside. But if we do that, we can't touch it. right? It's not like you can.
And that
have an
number has an
emergency.
end game because anyone hired after 2009 is not eligible for retiree health
Right,
insurance.
so there is a point in time, but we really have not set money aside for that. If that's not acceptable, we could use it very similar as we could prepay or pay more into our pension funds, which our pension funds are in great shape, the city's in great shape with them, but so that may or may not be the number one concern. But that either of those, whatever, would have the effect of freeing up that money though in the general fund, one way or the other, because we're paying it out of it. So it would be a benefit all the way around, but it would be a very, very disciplined way, particularly on the retiree health insurance trust, which I've talked to Steve about quite a bit. I think you have talked to Steve about quite a bit. Just don't know quite how to get there. If you choose to pass this, and if the legislature and/or the judge allows it, that might be an opportunity to consider, is segregating those funds. And at least this behavior and this can solve a long-term problem.
I think that's a great use, great idea for the money that could be generated, may be generated. We don't know yet, obviously, but in terms financially, that would be a very good place to put it, because those costs are very expensive, like you said, very expensive.
And there's no end in sight.
There's
They just
no end in sight.
keep going up much faster than inflation. It's just
Yep.
getting very difficult for us to keep up with it.
Yep.
And the trajectory that video gaming is on in the state of Illinois, I mean, you can just do a random Google search. It's unbelievable what piece of the pie they've taken away from casinos. It's an industry that's only going to grow from here.
Yeah.
And so if we, to use a term the mayor likes to use sometimes, if we lockbox that money for those OPEB obligations, that would put us in a very good financial position,
Yes.
not only from a credit rating standpoint, but for future general
Right.
fund revenue,
Right.
lack of obligations to that fund.
I'm amazed, number one, the money that's spent.
It's
But
disgusting.
number two, the state is coming out like a bandit in this thing. Unbelievable.
28%.
It's almost like it was their program.
It's like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And part of the argument in the claim against the city of Oaklawn, or the village of Oaklawn, rather, was that that money would take away from the state's capital program, because it would take a penny away from, which seems like a bit of a stretch, but I digress. That's not.
Well, the courts are going to have to weigh in on that, and they may weigh in such a way that the ordinance has to be modified to accommodate the ruling too. So I mean, but the point is that clearly that could happen, or the legislature could potentially weigh in and say you can't do this
Yeah.
as of this date, and then that opportunity that we just spoke of is lost forever. So.
Cody, you had mentioned a different date. What section was that in?
I believe it was Article E. Is that right? I'm sorry, Article 3.
3, I think yeah.
3, effective date, instead of October 25th, I think that should be changed to November 1st.
November 1,
Yeah, of 2021.
21.
What page is that?
Page 5 of the ordinance.
Middle of the page. So this basically gets our foot in the door.
If and
We
when
just
that
have,
opportunity.
we just have to wait and see what happens, see how it washes out.
Worst case scenario, this ordinance isn't worth the paper that it's written
Yeah.
on, but best
Yeah.
case scenario, $1.5 million.
Right.
Well, I commend you both for finding this thing out and at least putting us in a position where we can capitalize on it if possible.
Yeah.
I think it's a great idea.
So did you want to make the motion then?
I don't care. Sure,
Okay,
sure.
since you think it's such a great idea.
I think it's a good idea, yeah. I would make the motion to approve ordinance 3754 regarding amusement taxes.
I'll
as-
second that.
Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioner Patton,
Yay.
Commissioner Webb,
Yay.
Commissioner Steckland,
Yay.
Mayor Absher.
Yay. Item 9B, Cody, you're up again. You can explain
Yeah, so I sent you all a memo last week on this topic. So we already approved a contract with Farmer Environmental to go through and do an air quality sample after the asbestos company is done at the new City Hall project. However, we have an opportunity to save roughly 35 days in that process and allow both the asbestos company and the general contractor to be working in tandem in that building. That would be my recommendation, that you approve basically this daily rate of $600, or I'm sorry, is it $800 per day? $600 per day to allow Farmer to be in there daily with both contractors monitoring the air quality, allowing the general contractor to start 35 days ahead of schedule, which would in turn complete the project sooner and allow the bank to get back to operation. My math was wrong in my memo. I think it said 14,000. I think the most would be about 15,000. 21 minus 6 is not 14, but my abacus was broke that day, so.
Well, the only question I have, Cody, I think it's a great idea. The only question I have, what guarantee do we have that the general contractor and the asbestos guy will sync their schedules, if you will, to where we aren't paying somebody $600 a day if the general contractor is not going to be there?
So we have issued the notice to proceed effective October 25th to the general contractor. He has 365 days from October 25th to complete that project.
Okay.
For him, just like for us, time is money. He has committed demolition to start on October 25th if the opportunity arose. Originally, how I had pitched it to him, and it was my understanding at the time, once the asbestos started, nobody could be in the building. It had to be a complete self-contained building at that point. I think that building is cut up enough that that's impossible. So the asbestos company has agreed that they will section off different parts of it, contain that section. And then a question was asked, well, what if it fails one day? Well, the asbestos company has to stop what they're doing, contain that area better. They will, the whole reason for Farmer being there throughout the entire shift, that 8-hour shift, would be to ensure that air quality stays manageable throughout the day, allowing the general contractor to be in there. So circling back to your original question, contractor has committed being there as long as the air quality is
It's to
there.
his advantage if he is.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. I just wanted to clarify that, make sure everybody understood.
Yeah.
But they met, I mean, you talk about syncing schedules, so they've had a pre-construction meeting.
Yeah.
I mean, this is basic, they've all agreed.
Everybody's on board.
Yes.
I think. right?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
Well, what's your pleasure?
I'll make the motion to amend Farmer Environmental's contract for asbestos and air monitoring.
I'll second that.
Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioner Patton,
Yay.
Commissioner Webb,
Yay.
Commissioner Steckland,
Yay.
Mayor Absher.
Yay. Commissioner reports. Jim, you want to start?
Yeah, streets, still focusing on the sidewalk program that is ongoing, and drainage issues, working on quite a few pipes right now, getting ready for the fall rains. It's already started, I think, so. Cemetery, we had 17 burials in the month of September, 9 additional lots sold at the cemetery. So, and one other thing is, there'll be a public notice put in the paper, but it's for the 2021 fall cleanup schedule. I won't read through all this because of time, but it starts November the 8th in the southeast section of Marion, and there's a progression around town. So if there's any questions, it'll be on our Facebook page and posted in the paper, and as well as City Hall. So that's all I have. Thank you.
John?
All right, since the last council meeting, the Water Department reported 3 new service taps, 4 water leaks were being repaired, 8 services were updated. For the month of September, we had 299 Julie locations. Also want to remind everybody that if you're using the city app to report conditions, please provide us with as much information as possible so we're able to serve you a little better. Make sure you give the address and all what the problem is. Couple of things in the community to report on. Cornerstone Church recently held a free event out at their church, which included, if you went by on Halfway Road, you saw it going on. Rides, food, entertainment, a concert, it was all free. And we want to, thank the people that came out to support it, and also great job to Cornerstone for giving back to the community with a big free event like that. So that was a nice thing to have happen. Other thing, out at, this is from Central Hospital of Animals. The proceeds go to the Marion Police Department's Canine Cares Community Therapy Dog that we talked about last meeting. They're having a furry photo shoot, and that's going to be on November 20th at 12 p.m. Cost is $20. You'll get the digital images of your animal. So that's out at Central Hospital for Animals, corner of Route 13, 148. Let me talk about this one, or do you have this one? The ball drop?
No, I don't have it.
Okay. One other thing, we've had the Garnotti Golf Day has been going on for 30-some years now, and for the kids. Unfortunately, with COVID, it didn't happen this year, but Brandon Zanotti sent a note out that they're going to do, if you've never seen this, it's kind of amazing to watch it. It's the golf ball drop, and it's I don't think they're golf balls, I think they're ping pong balls, because I think golf balls would hurt people, but anyway, they have these holes out there, and it will take place at Crab Archer Golf Club October 21st at 10:30 a.m. So, and you can purchase golf balls, and your business or whatever can buy these, and then there's prizes if they get in the hole, which I think is a hula hoop or something like that, in there. So it's kind of a neat thing. So if you're interested, I'd say contact Brandon's office. That's probably the best way, and I guess we can get this maybe on the page. So give him a call. It's all going to CASA and kids, so it's a good thing. So that's all I
Should do a turkey drop.
Frozen turkeys. That would be awesome.
I still think it'd be a big hit.
Let's think about that, Cody, for November. Get Les up to announce it.
As God is my witness, I thought turkeys could fly. Okay, Doug?
No, I don't have anything, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, under miscellaneous, I've got a couple of things I want to discuss with you. Are you going to read your thing, or you're not going to do? Are you going to do it? Okay, I'll discuss this first. I had a nice lady that visited me that lives down on South Market Street, and this isn't entirely, don't try to consume, this is several pages, that she emailed this to us today, but she had some ideas on how to improve her particular neighborhood, and I encouraged her to put some of those in writing and maybe talk to some of her own community members as to some of the things they would like to see. And I just wanted to pass this along to you because I thought it was kind of neat, and I thought had some great ideas, but it also is a good launching point for an ask that I've got of you guys. So if you go back a couple of years now to the Vision 2020 proposal, and then subsequently we enacted a TIF district, our first residential TIF district. The concept in general there was, as money built over time in that TIF, is that we could use those funds to do neighborhood improvement projects. It could be anything from just supercharging sidewalk plans, or one of the things that's in this particular proposal that I thought was interesting is try to take some of our antique lighting that we have more on the square and take it down some of our streets, provide some more street lighting. It could be we could have a grant program for landscaping, for example. We could do roof repair, but we do have a little bit, now that we've got our money from the Williamson County, we do have about $276,000 in residential TIF. So I would like for you guys to talk to your constituents that live in this area, keeping in mind just common sense dictates that sounds like a lot of money. It doesn't go very far, depending on what projects that you're doing. So I think we should consider things that affect more people rather than less. Street lighting, for example, although that's not cheap, but that benefits an entire street. Whereas if you do landscaping grants, for example, you could do a 50-50 is one of the thoughts. I think it was another community that did that we got that idea. Obviously, that benefits just one yard, but the neighbors could benefit from it too, I guess, by lifting. Rising tide lifts all boats type of a thing. But this is our first this is our first go with this, so we need some ideas on some programs and some things that you might consider worthy. And maybe you think it's would it be too much to ask? Is it to kind of think about that and visit with some people, and let's revisit in the next council meeting and kind of see if there's a consensus on the kind of programs that we can develop with that. This will be trial and error a little bit. This is our first run with it. We've never done anything like this in the city before.
For the downtown area, right?
Well, it's all for residential one, TIF, which is basically this southeast quadrant of town. So, you know, you're obviously not going to be able to benefit every street every time. It would be a thing where we could do an area this year and designate an area the next time. So that's a consideration. But the other big consideration is just what kind of things do you think benefit the most people? You know, like street lighting, sidewalks, grant programs. I do want to tell you, it will go quicker than we think it will. It's just not going to last that long. These projects are expensive, but I think we should try to make them benefit as many people as we can at one time.
I like the idea too, because I think if we get involved in something like this, to what degree, I think you're going to see participation happen outside of the city in conjunction with this, from people in the area, people in the street, and whatever. I think it'll be a copacetic thing. I mean, we've seen it with the mural projects. We've seen it with other things that outside factors are coming in as far as doing stuff too. And I think you'll see the same thing here. And maybe this will spur other areas of town to want to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Perfect. It's exactly what we're hoping for.
Well, even in some of the areas, I know this is not anything new. The city's been doing this. Previous administrations did it very, very well. This sidewalk programs, which, boy, talk about starting something that you can't stop doing, because that's technically not even the city's responsibility. It's supposed to be the property owners in most cases, I think. But we started it, and some of the older areas in town, when we put new sidewalks, the next thing you know, people are building a house in those areas, or in some cases 2 or 3 houses. And so these little things do matter, but we need to be judicious with it. We need to make our money go as far as it can, because we won't have any more until next year this time. It's just the way it works. So hopefully it'll be that much, or maybe a few pennies more, but this is kind of our experiment. This is figuring out what we can do to improve things incrementally. And I think you're exactly right. And I think the murals and the other things that have gone on downtown, you clean up one thing and the next, somebody wants to clean up the next property. And that's the idea. So if you guys would give that some thought, and more importantly, maybe reach out to some people that live in some neighborhoods and talk to our constituents, and then bring back some ideas to the next council meeting and see how we proceed. There's no necessary rush to do it. As a matter of fact, I think we kind of need to take our time and have this be a springtime program, just because we're going to start, depending on what you choose to do. Probably won't do a lot of construction type stuff in the winter, but we can be ready to go in the spring. So the second thing I do, because you're passionate about this, and I think you do. Terrence has worked really hard on this.
Well, I'm not by myself with it, so definitely passionate about it. So you guys will see the flyer that's kind of going around, and it might get changed a little bit more, as time goes by. My flyer is not as great as Jessica's flyer. But anyway.
Becky, you can have this one if you want. I gave Curtis one earlier.
So this Saturday from 11 to 4, in conjunction with the Marion Housing Authority, we're going to be having a community connection day out at Sherman Drive. That'd be the 900 block of Sherman Drive from 11 to 4. On that day, there will be free food. We will have, like, Centerstone shall be there, Land of Lincoln shall be there. The Marion Fire Department will be providing food for everyone that's there. We'll have hay rides. We're trying to get our hands on some pumpkins. So we might have to go pick up a bunch of pumpkins tonight over from Cornerstone. But anyway, there's a lot of different things and activities that we are piecing together and putting this, together for that event. The main thing is that there's a lot of nonprofit organizations and services that are provided in Marion, from the Mantricons to the Centerstones to the Women's Centers to all these different locations. But they're always waiting for people to come to them to get the help. So why don't we take it to them? And that was the whole concept. You know, instead of we waiting for them to come to us, why don't we take it to them? So out there at that unit, there's 65 units that live out there, 150 people that can possibly benefit from these services. So 773 will be there on hand that will be offering jobs, training them. If they don't know how to pass the exam, they will teach them on how to pass the exam and do different things. The Franklin County Detention Center contacted me last week. They are in desperate need of jobs. They either told me they only have 9 employees, that doesn't sound right, you know, or they lost 9 employees. But the number 9 was pretty significant, and they needed help over there. So anyway, we're offering jobs. We're offering financial assistance. We're giving away gift cards, you know, a whole lot of different things that are out there. And it's all free to the general public and doesn't cost anyone anything.
Terrence, what's the date of this again?
This is October the 16th from 11 to 4.
Yeah, your flyer says September. You might want to redo that.
I told you to change.
That's
Just
what
threw
I
it together today.
Okay.
I was trying to get the flyer from Grace. She is out of town right now, so her flyer looks better.
Did you start this, or how did this come about?
Well, honestly, it started out over, I've heard some of the people that are doing those things over in the Carbondale area, and they have a little different twist on it. It's about stopping the violence and doing those sort of things and all that. So their community is a little bit different than our community. And so whenever I heard that, then it was really all about what can we do to help people that are impacted within our own community. We don't necessarily have as much violence as they have over that way, but we've got, needs, that need to be met over this way. And with all the different organizations, it's like, why don't we just bring it to them?
Well, that's great. I commend you and whoever else was involved in it for organizing that. It sounds like it'd be a great event.
Yeah. So, any other questions?
I think so.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Okay, let's see. I don't think I have anything else in miscellaneous, nor do I have any reason, unless you guys do, to go into closed session for any. Yes.
Electronic recycling?
Yes. Do I have that?
Yes.
I do. You can tell by the surprised look on my face.
Where is it?
That one sheet that I had to go to their office to get.
Where'd that go?
Is this it?
Ah. You want to read it too, or you want me to read it?
You can read it.
Okay. Terrence says, on October 2nd, we held our 6th annual recycling event. It was another huge success, even with the pouring rain. We'd like to thank the Marion Street Department, Marion High School football and basketball team, Marion Safety Department for providing the food and more. We had some great many items that we had to go and get a 3rd truck. On Saturday from 11 to 4, the city of Marion, along with, oh, no, that's that's the one you just read. How many tons are, you published this already, how many items?
Honestly, I forgot, but we had a semi-trailer, a box truck, and it was all full, and had to go back and get more. And it was pouring down, raining, and the students and those volunteers that were there stayed with us the whole time. Traffic was backed up. I heard almost the Taco John and the police department came by at one point in time, and I said, we can have 2 lanes. And it was great.
Well, that's another thing not to make it Terrence Henry night here, but you've worked hard on that for many years, so we appreciate that too. You and the others that organized that. Okay, do not have anything else, I don't think, in miscellaneous, and I don't have anything for executive session unless you guys do. Okay, so hearing no other business to come before the council, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Patton,
Yay.
Commissioner Webb,
Yay.
Commissioner Stecklin,
Yay.
Mayor Absher.
Yay, thank you all.